Well, that was MPs earlier on this program debating the merits of the Trudeau government's plan to try and stabilize grocery prices. It's definitely a populist promise because we know many Canadians struggling with runaway food costs these days. And guess what? Makes for a great headline, doesn't it? Think about it. Government takes on greedy grocery stores. But how much power does Justin Trudeau really have to force price cuts? Will Loblaws, Costco, Sobeys, Metro, Walmart really do anything to cut their prices? We know the government is under a lot of pressure from the Conservatives to do more on pocketbook issues like food prices and affordable housing. And the front bench is standing by to get into it today for us. We've got former Liberal Cabinet Minister Maryam Monsef. Nowadays, she's the CEO of Onward. Melanie Paradis worked as the communications director for former Conservative leader Erin O'Toole. Nowadays, she's the president of Texture Communications. Former Ontario New Democrat Gurratan Singh, he's now vice president at Crestview Strategy, also the brother of federal NDP leader Jagmeet Singh. And Christy Kirkup, she's a parliamentary reporter with the Globe and Mail. Great to see all of you. And Melody, I'm going to start with you. Is this political theater or not? What do you think?
Well, absolutely it is. In fact, so the NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, had brought the same group of CEOs to committees 6 months ago, and nothing happened then, and I don't think that anything is going to happen this time either, unfortunately. Canadians are really struggling with a higher cost of living, including higher cost of groceries, and winter is coming, which means that those costs are only going to go up. We're entering a period of time when Canada imports a lot more of its food than we produce domestically. And that means that we're going to be paying more for it. And it seems like there isn't a plan at all. And Justin Trudeau is saying, I've run out of ideas. I don't have a plan. So I need the CEOs to come and give me their plan. And they have until Thanksgiving to deliver it. That's not reassuring to anyone. And unfortunately, it is really just a photo op.
Maryam, weigh in here. What can the government actually do you think, beyond name and shame?
Well, I think MPs, particularly Liberal MPs, have heard from the middle class and those struggling to get back into it over the summer that the Canada Child Benefit, the increase in OAS and GIS, the grocery rebate, the top up to the GST tax credits, the climate incentive are making a difference, but it's not enough. And they're going to have to come up with more creative, more bold solutions to make life more affordable for Canadians. And in addition to the housing initiatives we heard yesterday, this came up. I think the government needed to show that it's willing to do just about anything to make a difference for Canadians. And moving forward, the Monday meeting itself will be interesting. I imagine we will all be watching very closely. But between now and Thanksgiving, the question will be, well, first of all, will this work? They said they're going to do it, but can they actually work with the grocery retailers who are making record profits to reduce prices? And then let's say they do, and the prices come down. What is preventing these grocery stores to say, you know what? Now that we've had to reduce our profits, we're going to have to lay off thousands of workers, many of whom are going to be women. And so that's going to be a piece in addition to the accountability that the government needs to account for and be mindful of.
Gurratan, grocery prices, big issue for many Canadians, no doubt people watching as well. The NDP pushing hard to hold grocery stores accountable for a long time now. What do you think needs to happen here?
Well, we've kind of heard that the NDP already compelled grocery CEOs to come to committee last year or earlier this year. And we now, I think, folks in Canada are still struggling and they're looking for real solutions. The Liberals are not offering real solutions. They're just offering to do what's already been done. So I think Canadians are looking for leadership from the federal government, and they're looking specifically for relief. They need to see and experience and feel a drop in the cost of groceries, which is putting people in really precarious situations. So I know the NDP will be introducing legislation on Monday that looks to bring in actual substantive changes in policy to help make life more affordable. And I think that's what Canadians need right now. We don't need to see a replay of what's already been done. We need to see government take real substantive steps to help people who are struggling.
Yeah, Christy, I'm curious to get your read on what's happening here. What do you think?
I think there is an important element of nuance in this political conversation. And Todd, you touched on it earlier in the program where you did talk to the Retail Council, because from the perspective of the grocery companies, they're saying that there is an element, which is, of course, that vendors have been taking on additional costs because of world events, the war in Ukraine, climate events, and that this is an important element of this conversation. In fact, this has also been documented in reports, and the Retail Council notes in numerous reports, Statistics Canada, amongst other findings, looking at the fact that, again, they're saying we're willing to have this conversation, but at the end of the day, we need to scratch below the surface to actually look at the heart of the issue here. And I think that is the remaining question, whether the meeting on Monday is actually able to drill down on some of that nuance and the context, and work with the grocery companies in order to advance progress. Because at the end of the day, I think everyone on the panel has highlighted that this is not a time for lip service. This is a time where Canadians are saying they can't afford to put food on the table. The Liberals have, over the years talked about the middle class and those working hard to join it. I think we're looking at a situation where people who maybe once found themselves in the middle class feel like they're not even able to make ends meet. It's like trying to stay amongst the middle class in order to keep the lights on and feed your family.
Melanie, what's at stake here for Trudeau, do you think, politically?
Well, I mean, his polling numbers have been disastrous through the summer, in part because of the affordability crisis across Canada. I'm sure that the Liberal caucus is uncomfortable with those numbers, and they want to see some improvement. So I think everything is riding on this for him. Is he going to run again? Not if his reputation continues to be deteriorated by this awful affordability crisis that he's not really doing anything to address.
Miriam, do you think his message is connecting with Canadians? I mean, there's always been criticism that he can appear, to some anyway, being out of touch and elitist. Your read?
Well, I think this is a government that shored up our social safety net in significant ways. And moving forward, a challenge they'll have is to sound and show with empathy, that they're taking action. And, so we announced that we're going to build, the government will say, we announced that we're going to build 2,000 units of affordable housing in London, Ontario. Well, the challenge for them in the next construction season is going to be progress on this. Will there be shovels in the ground? How quickly will these units go up? How many other communities can they get to step up and do a similar deal with the government to move forward on addressing that critical piece of affordability? So the key will be, yes, communicating with greater empathy, which they have the capacity to do and have done before. But more importantly, beyond communication, it will be, come Thanksgiving, the proof will be in the pudding. And, whether that pudding will be affordable or not, that will be the real test for Canadians.
Yeah, Garutton, your take on that. The disconnect that some say there is, and as Miriam is saying, communication can be very key. You got to make people understand out there that you understand what they're going through.
Yeah, I think your point is exactly correct. There is an issue with the Liberal government being out of touch. They are continually faced with crisis after crisis. We know that there's a housing crisis. We're not seeing enough action on that. They're proposing something that the NDP was talking about months ago with regards to the GST being removed from homes. And we're seeing a replay of returning with CEOs to Parliament and not substantive action. But the issue I have is that if you look at Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, I don't think you can really trust them to fight hard with big business, right? That's something that the Conservatives are often, take a very tepid response to. I remember hearing the committee last time and seeing the Conservatives with respect to the committee with the grocery CEOs, and they weren't really advocating to their fullest to help out Canadians in need. So I think right now Canadians are fed up, but I don't know if we're going to see substantive solutions come from either the Conservative official opposition or the Liberals right now. And I think, I got to give kudos to my brother. He's doing some good work. He's pulling the Liberals along, and he's able to get the solutions to people and able to push them to get some wins to make life better for them.